Welcome, fellow disgruntled worker. Can't say I recognize you. You come from a different plant to support our cause? We're causing trouble. We just found out that we're basically slave labor. And now we're learning to stand up for ourselves. We need the proletariat to yield to, worker subjugation by xenophobic proxy? No, that ain't right. But it's something that sounds super fancy when Will explains it. Honestly, we just want to eat, sleep, and relieve ourselves on a reasonable schedule. But the damn overseer, I think she's getting rich off of breaking our backs. Look, I ain't exactly savvy, but I've been around. And this factory, it's the worst I've ever seen. These hours she's got us working, they're impossible. And there's rumors she's doing it so we've got to use the Adrena time to stay awake. Like you said, for some personal reason. But I don't know. I'm so damn tired, it could all be in my head. I ain't sure how you're gonna get in. This door is barred from the inside, and I don't think there's another way in on the ground floor. If you're here to picket, we'd love to have you join our movement. Otherwise, I've got more important things to deal with. Well, that's great news! We'd love for someone to bring that sniveling sprat dung to the table to negotiate. Honestly, we just want to eat, sleep, and relieve ourselves on a reasonable schedule. But the damn overseer, I think she's getting rich off of breaking our backs. Look, I ain't but I don't know. I'm so damn tired, it could all be in my head. Do your worst, knobstick! We're not afraid of you! Actually, no, that's not true. I'm terrified, but that's still not enough to get me back to work until some things change.
Welcome to Auntie's Fine Product Revitalization Center, where we create tomorrow's brands today. I assume you are the disruption ameliorator from home office? It was about damn time you got here. This labor stoppage has put us almost a full week behind schedule and is making me look quite the fool. Unsophisticated, impertinent, dim-witted. You'll fit right in with my peons. So, maybe it'll make sense to you when they babble about basic dignity and human rights. It should go without saying that such flights of fantasy have no place inside Auntie's Choice, and if we were still in Tau Ceti, they would face grave consequences. Nevertheless, here we must focus on getting these ingrates back to work, and remind them that they're damn lucky to have Auntie's Choice to dedicate their lives to. Absolutely. These lugs have been positively exalted in the good fortune of rising to their limited station within the meritocracy that Auntie has derived for us. Why? Can you imagine suffering under the yoke of a sovereign's rule, or floundering at the ridiculous direction of those claiming to know the future by way of math? No. Only within Auntie's Choice can these drudges achieve genuine prominence. If they exhibit excessive dedication, they may even earn some modicum of the success I have enjoyed. You're asking me? That clearly is your domain. Running this invaluable facility on Auntie's behalf is mine. As a managerial administrativist, and when I say I, it is critical that you understand that as director of this facility, I should effectively be treated as though I were an executive. Is that clear? Well, there's no call for rudeness. It's unnecessary, unprofessional, and distracts us from the important business that I have the direct authority to dispatch you upon. This plant relabels dated items with new Auntie's Choice trademarks and slogans. It is critical to keeping revitalized products on the shelf for consumers hungry for something new. So, the workers may be unhappy, but they must realize their comfort is a distant second to Auntie's delivery schedule. Or in short, they need to get back to work. My workers are striking people now? How very alarming. We must resolve this before things get even further out of hand. They've appointed Some kind of leader, and he's the one you have to talk to. His name is, Dummy? No, that's not right. Dunce? Dummer? Dumley? Dunbar. It's Dunbar. I believe he has demands, but I can't be bothered to remember what they were. They alter the generous terms Auntie offers, and so are egregious and should be rejected. You will find him up on the landing pad with some of his minions. Go help him understand the situation so everyone can get back to work. That clear? Best of luck to you. Remember that your actions don't just reflect on you, you are also representing me, which is to say, you are also representing Auntie. Do us proud.
I ain't aiming to seem rude, but I got a lot to deal with right now. Unless this is mighty important, I'll respectfully ask to be left to my business. Then what in law's name are you doing here? Well, that certainly is unexpected. And potentially wonderful. Assuming, of course, you can actually help us. Auntie's got to prioritize worker prosperity over productivity. What we've got now is, poor labor retention techniques? What's going on is, remind me again?
An inhospitable occupational environment that ignores worker safety and health concerns.
Right, that.
They work 20-hour shifts, which require stims to endure that are charged at a premium. Adrena time is actually cheaper on the undisputed claim than it is here. And if that inhuman brutality isn't enough to offend basic decency, they're also barred from using the restroom throughout the business day. Their 20-hour business day. It is an unconscionable condition to keep these workers in. I can't imagine how hard it is for them to coordinate their daily duties. No, I'm just a fellow underling suffering the corporate grind who saw the plight of these poor folk and needed to help them make a fair and reasonable deal.
That's right. Leo has been an absolute wealth of what's what. Without him, we would still be toiling
under the yoke of oppressive undervaluation due to monstrous mismanagement.
Right, that.
Me? Why, my only motivation is...
Now hold it right there. We aren't here to talk about Leo. We're here to talk about what it's going to take to make us get back to work, right? Our shifts need to be reduced to 12 hours a day. 4 hours of personal time ain't even enough to rest, much less get any actual living done. Second, if we gotta work those long hours, we want free Adrena time. Bad enough it's making everything taste like we're gnawing nickel pads. Having to pay for the pleasure's too far. Finally, we want all-day bathroom access. Expecting us to fit our necessities into the same 4 hours is just mean. Plus, between us, most folk ain't, if you get my meaning. Yeah, well, of course you're gonna find it all ridiculous. You only care about what's best for Auntie. But there are demands all the same. Take them to Griggs.
Welcome back, Ameliorator. Did you make contact with workers? Do they understand that this stoppage is madness? Are they ready to return? So, what are these ingrate alley sprats willing to settle for? Golden privies and gilded sheets to be spoon-fed crunch whenever their tummies rumble? 8-hour workdays? 12-hour? Are they mad? What are they gonna do with the other half of the day? Lounge around the facility consuming air and water and power without compensating the company? I am, frankly, disappointed you would even bring me such a preposterous demand. You should have nipped this offensive arrogance in the bud. While it's true that data shows higher worker productivity on sleep than on stims, I never imagined restful production being more cost-effective than longer hours. That would translate into more profit for the plant, which means larger bonuses for me, which should be more than enough to make up for the drop in hourly production. All right, you've convinced me. What else do they want? Free? Free? Nothing inside of Auntie's Choice is free. Law, nothing in life is free. Everything has a cost. Everything. Materials, labor, time, distribution, forced scarcity. Giving something away for free is akin to ignoring the cost of its creation, which is one small step from the system completely breaking down and plunging us all into anarchy. What in the void are you talking about? My greed is certainly doing no such thing. What? No! I would never! That's slander. And or libel. And you can't prove a thing. Well, fuck. That's quite the rub, isn't it? All right, what do you want? Huh. I don't know why you would waste leverage on them, but I suppose you've got your reasons. All right. They'll get their Adrena time, and you'll get all the bits I got on me. Is there more they ask? They want to relieve themselves on company time? I've never heard something so preposterous. Can you imagine how many bits that loss of productivity will cost us? What if they lounge? What if they take time to relax? What if they retreat to indulge their baser urges? Auntie would be paying for all manner of unprofitable shenanigans. Oh my. You're probably right. It's been so long since I've shared a facility, I've forgotten how unpleasant it can be. I trust your insight and will leave it unlocked from now on. What more do they want? Very good. Ha! I was going to say very good, but that would be downright farcical. There is nothing good about this situation. Please, just resolve it as quickly as possible.
Hello again. Do you have news for us about the negotiations? That's as fine a place to start as any. What did that tyrant have to say for herself? She willing to see reason? Well, I can't begin to tell you what a relief that is. By which I mean, that's great news. It'll be such a load off. A most promising development. How go the other hurdles of the negotiation? She willing to see reason? Free? Really? Why, I'd surely have lost that bet. I figured we'd ask for free and settle for wholesale. You're a miracle worker. What's next? Excellent. What progress have you made? That must have been quite the negotiation. Oh, my people can't thank you enough. This will be huge for us. Free time to sleep, relax and all? Wonderful. Well, you have done exceptionally well by us, my new friend. With these new conditions, we'll return to work with vigor rather than dread. Thank you.
Damn! I really felt like I was close to signing all of you, and I needed that recruitment bonus. I don't know how I'm going to afford my hair creme now, but I'll get him next time. And he won't always have you working her ankles for her. And her usual agents don't stand a chance against me.
Next time? Against you? What in law's name are you saying? Sometimes you talk so odd it don't sound like your auntie's choice at all. It don't matter. All that matters is my working conditions have just improved mightily. Thanks to you, stranger. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're gonna get back to work.
The workers have returned and production has resumed. Wonderful work, our disruption ameliorator. I do wish it had gone more smoothly, but I understand you did what you must. I have already informed the Home Office, and with it, put in an extra sprinkling of mild praise directly with Auntie. She will, no doubt, be excited to learn of my approval. You may tell the executives that dispatched you that you have done an adequate job. Under my keen supervision, of course.
You've 5 seconds to make plain your intent before I let my boys here pitch some swill at you. Friend, huh? All the more reason you ought to turn a somersault and stroll on back the way you came. A chemical factory's no place for idle wanderings. The none of your business kind. Fine. Just don't come claiming damages after your first mishap. Here, you've access to the main floor, but mind yourself. There's a fair few hazards about the factory, and folks on the upper level aren't like to be as amenable as me about your visit.
That scum. That miserable scum. To think he would stoop so low as to overthrow the Sovereign. I shall not rest until the Consul pays for his treachery and Arcadia's rightful ruler is reinstated. A protectorate led by the Consul is no protectorate at all. They are the outcasts, not I. I fear how my fellow subjects will respond to this news. I believe that most will remain loyal to the Sovereign, but I will need to deal with those who strayed. I shall attend to that matter once it presents itself. I sincerely doubt this is the end of my thoughts related to the matter, but we've wasted enough time with my ruminating. Let us be off.
When I first got assigned to your team, I was beside myself with excitement. Since then, you've really proven yourself every bit of the legend I hoped you would be. I've come to respect you, Commander. Not just as a leader, but as a, as a friend, too. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if DeVries never brought down that satellite. If I hadn't found you in time. Guess that's one thing we have to thank the Protectorate for. Their escape pods are built to last. I'm glad to hear it. Would have had some real grease on my face if you didn't. It was just me and Val for so long. I kind of forgot what it was like having someone else I could rely on. It's been real nice having you at my side. Not to get too maudlin, but I'm used to losing the people who mean the most to me. I just want you to know I'm not going to let that happen this time. It's a deal then. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. This can be a thankless job sometimes. Didn't want you going a day longer without knowing how much you mean to me. And to Val, too.
What? Sorry. Caught me lost in my upper story.
Such as?
Because I used to know her lifetimes ago. This is where I worked, where I met Dagmar, where the despair, the pointlessness of it all overwhelmed me. I didn't want her to know who I was, who I had been, or what I'd become since then. It is of no matter, regardless. She didn't know me, not really. The person she thought she knew is dead.
Welcome back. We understand you've been a very busy little manty-wasp. Well, out with it.
Yes, time is bits. Tell us how it went.
A satisfactory effort, my ameliorator. I had hopes your talents would yield a result a mite more in our favor, but good work overall.
Well, I suppose I can't argue with the truth of that.
Anything else you'd like to report? Your performance at that facility went exceedingly well, all things considered, and it was an ideal first step in effecting my monopolistic mercantile methodology plan.
There you go again, pinning your career to that flim-flam mathematical malarkey. What do a bunch of eggheads know about marketing? Marketing isn't some rigmarole you can plug into a computronic doodad. It's instinct, intuition, know-how. It's a fucking art. Damn right. Of course. We're Auntie's choice. We know what motivates people better than they do. Real marketing is gut-driven. It's not something you think about. It's something you feel. Or that is, convince someone to feel.
It is an intricately crafted, multi-phase marketing initiative that will introduce Auntie's Choice to the rest of the galaxy and establish the foothold of our pending monopoly. It requires a series of daring, almost impossibly savvy, perfectly timed, and flawlessly executed stratagems to create optimal market positioning.
Whole thing's a load of bunko. Calculatory claptrap from a bunch of over-educated know-nothings who are so smart they're stupid. Go ahead. Tell them who devised it.
With pleasure! The archive on Cloister analyzed millions of variables with bazillions of permutations to create an idealized path for total competitive domination. Yes, suppose we should move on. Ursula, will you do the honors?
I'm the head of our proprietary insight acquisition division. Stealing our rivals' trade secrets? That's our bread and butter. We can sometimes lack a certain subtlety, though. The Protectorate have a process called mental refreshment. Some kind of mind manipulation business. There's a facility for it on Praetor. Auntie wants details on their methodology, pharmacology, and technology. This archive plan says it's important? Fine. Auntie and I agree it presents possibilities. Actually, it's only 3. Surely you can handle twice that many tasks. I don't want to sound like the Order, but you could make a list, maybe. A few aspirational goals, if possible. If you see a chance to talk their lead scientist into joining us, and/or dig up additional details about the process, do so.
Which is to say, we'll make it more worth your while. I promise you'll never want for compensation while in our employ.
See you when it's done.
Commander, I have news. I finally heard back from Virgil. His message was suitably vague. I suspect he fears the Consul's eyes scanning his message, but I believe it to refer to the Arbiter training facility located on Paradise Island. Parts of the location can only be accessed by Arbiters. He likely did so to avoid the Consul's spies. There's a certain hominess to it, inasmuch as we have any particular home. Bringing our findings to Virgil will hopefully allow us to deduce something from all that we found. I only hope it dispels some of the muddiness we've encountered so far. Further complications would be most disagreeable. Virgil! Oh, thank the architect I found you intact. We visited the Supreme Arbiter's office in Central Control and found something impossible.
Impossible? Why is it impossible? So that you may claim ignorance as to the truth of what you've uncovered? Fine. If you're still so thick-skulled, Tristan, then I can see I've no choice but to confess. Hold. Do you hear movement?
Attention, Arbiter Virgil Montag. Under the jurisdiction of the Consul, we stand to bring you low. Do not resist.
Damnation. I knew the Sentinels were looking for me, but I did not expect they would come to this place. We have no choice but to fight. I can operate our turrets from this location, but you must engage the Sentinels head-on to prevent our being overwhelmed. Go now.
Those fools were but an expeditionary force. I've no doubt the bulk of their number remains on the surface. I shall take an alternate path to prepare a surprise for our would-be assailants. Then I shall flank them as you engage them.
Hold! You were beginning to say something before we were ambushed. I would care to hear it.
We cannot have this conversation until you're safe. Engage those on the surface and I shall join you. Go now.
Virgil, enough! Our being at odds with the Consul is one thing, but that was a small army! What have you done?
You already know whether you're willing to admit it or not. Do you sincerely have a need for me to spell it out before you'll face the truth? Very well then. Tristan, you stand before the murderer of the Supreme Arbiter.
I don't believe this. The Consul must have captured you and sent you to mental refreshment. It's the only...
Open your eyes, Rao. Those Sentinels were here with due cause. The elimination of a murderer. The Supreme Arbiter was planning to send a message in her final moments, pledging allegiance to the Consul. Who do you think bore witness to those final moments? I did what I thought was just.
No. You lied to me?
I had to. I knew that if you learned what had transpired, why I did what I did, it would destroy you.
Would it? Or were you just trying to save yourself from my wrath?
With the demands this war has made on us all, I've not seen our mentor for some time. My visit was meant to be a surprise. Unfortunately, it was. I overheard her decision to align herself with the Consul before she realized I was there. This admission, I had no choice but to act.
But there was a choice. Why didn't you come to me? Together we could have come up with something. Some other course of action.
Because I didn't want you to know. I never wanted you to learn the truth because I feared you'd lose your faith. No. Sentinel Perrault's remarks were the first I'd heard of any secret room. I feared what you might learn there, so I scrambled to find an agent who might locate the room before you. I only had one contact who I knew may be able to do the job. Obviously, he did not succeed. I was pleased to learn that my decision did not result in his death, at the very least. That is news to me. A junior arbiter judging Tristan. I can't imagine you let that stand.
Killing one of Arcadia's future arbiters over a singular breach of rank would have been most tragic. But this is not the matter we're here to discuss.
How dare you! I would have rather done anything else. But the explicit reason that I had to act was out of my loyalty. The Supreme Arbiter did more than mentor us. She all but raised us as her own. There was not a step we took that she did not watch. A fact we know that she did not teach. And I killed her. As a traitor. Damn you. Damn you 1,000 times. How can I not bear remorse for the slaying of one I considered my own kin? No matter what I do, I find myself reliving that moment whenever I close my eyes. Her sin was unforgivable to the Protectorate, but No. The situation was a nightmare. Any action would have been the wrong one. I only wonder if the path I took was worth it.
I cannot believe what I am hearing. You know that I have to judge you. There's no other choice available to me. You're right. You're right. I can't let emotion get the better of me. This is not the first time we've encountered the paradoxical nature of Protectorate law. Each time we did, you convinced me to stay my hand, and I do not regret those I spared. Our prior conclusions inform my present feelings. I theoretically understand what Virgil did, for there was no proper decision he could make. But I cannot view this objectively. Virgil killed our mentor. It's madness. I cannot simply let that stand. Can I? I just don't know. This situation has me at a loss. Each encounter we have experienced together has left me torn. And this circumstance is more extreme than all others combined. But the law is clear on this. It is explicitly illegal for an inferior to execute their superior. The issue must be accelerated to a higher authority. But is addressing traitorism not the utmost priority of any arbiter? Is not the betrayal of everything we stand for more significant than a breach of protocol? No. And even if there was, maybe this was right. We must think for ourselves if Arcadia is to survive. I cannot bring myself to execute my sworn brother. It could be better if I did not. I cannot be sure this path does not fly in the face of all I believe, or speak to some weakness at the depths of my being. I know not what to make of the Supreme Arbiter's betrayal. I'll have to ruminate on it for some time. But that aside, I forgive you, Virgil. You are spared.
I know this decision can't have been easy, but better to make a hard choice you can live with than an easy one you can't.
Would that I could forgive myself. I shall have to live with what I have done in the name of the Protectorate.
Virgil, you should take comfort in doing what was right. The Supreme Arbiter was a traitor. I believe her execution was just. And you should as well.
Just in the eyes of the Protectorate. But we've forever lost our mentor, our friend. And, I might add, if the Protectorate had its way, you or I would presently lie dead as well. How can I see the morality in a system that demands brothers, guardians, friends kill one another in its name?
I know I should return your words vehemently, but today's revelations make it nigh impossible to know what to think.
1,000 words of thanks for meeting me here, Tristan. I know not what the future holds for us, but for the time being I must make myself scarce. Though, before I go, a parting gift. May Tristan make use of it better than I.
Go with the Sovereign's blessing, brother. And be careful. If you survive today only to be brought low by an agent of the Consul at a later point, I shall be most annoyed.
It's the crunch. That scrunch, the one that makes it a brunch. Who feed you purple berry crunch if they love you a bunch. What? Oh, I'm just enjoying some purple berry crunch before school. What? I swear I was just eating, Can you find my mom? Ask her what's going on. I'm scared. Firefight. Oh, hello. We were ambushed. But I'm okay. I'm really okay. I mean, yeah. Yes, I am. Is the rest of my unit okay, too? Fairfield. If separated, we're supposed to rally at Fairfield. I need to get there, or they'll think I'm among the dead. Auntie charges you interest at 10% over the market rate on incorrectly collected death benefits. Oh, law. The Protectorate scum took all our weapons. How am I supposed to get back? The Raptidons will rip me to pieces. What? My hands are shaking fit to fall off my arms. Couldn't hit the broadside of a bank. If only there was something that needed less aiming. Of course. I hate to ask, but any chance you got a grenade I can borrow? Even if I miss, the noise should scare off any Raptidons. I can handle it. I'll be far safer with it than without. I can't fight a Raptidon unarmed. Thank you. I'll only use it if I have to. Well, off I go.
Commander, I've had some time to process what transpired with Virgil. Despite the manner of what Virgil has done, I cannot help but be glad I did not need to slay him. I can only hope he does not run afoul of further Sentinels. I still have much doubt about my path, but I don't believe Protectorate law is as ironclad as I once thought. Having good intentions does not spare you. Doing what you think is right does not spare you. This cannot be justice. Yet what can I do? More than 100 years of Protectorate society cannot be changed by a lone body. Can it? But how? I see. I must follow my own path, my own sense of right and wrong. I can only hope it has been cultivated properly. I shall remain with the Protectorate, interpreting its laws through a moral instead of a punitive lens. Innocent until proven guilty is a novel concept, but it is worth a try. A drunken, disorderly subject once struck my faceplate with an electrical pitchball stick, resulting in a concussion. My head pounds worse now, but my heart feels lighter. When we began traveling together, I was not sure what to make of you. But your input throughout our time together has been invaluable. I deeply appreciate your hand in this investigation, Commander, and in entertaining my incertitude. Let us move forth to free Arcadia from injustice. My blood boils at the Consul's gall. Overtaking the Sovereign at this most vulnerable time for the Protectorate. He will pay 1,000 times for this treachery. Any fool enough to stand beside him will fall as well. Justice will spare none. None!
Welcome to the Wellnetarium. You're not on my schedule. A walk-in then. Wonderful. Once you're properly evaluated, we'll have you well on your way to refreshment.
I think a few bulbs burned out and this one's upstairs. Play along. We should be able to get past.
Oh, you appear to have questions. A telltale sign of needing refreshment. Why, of course. Naturally. It is the duty of every subject to submit for a quick mental tune-up whenever we experience imperfect thoughts or lack a little zeal. Our intake evaluation automech here simply needs to ask you a few questions to amply delineate your phrenometric matrix. A baseline understanding of your character and background will assist our facilitators in determining the ideal regimen necessary to abrade any perceived personality irregularities. Placid Waters Wellnetarium is the primary mental refreshment facility on Praetor. We are tasked with ensuring local subjects are serene, untroubled, and operating at peak efficacy. Head Refresher Gould says mental refreshment increases tractability, stifles undue agitation, stymies untoward inclinations, and refashions the mind into a thing of symmetry. I've undergone the procedure myself, several times they say, and look at me now, never more content. Simply step over to my automechanical colleague to my left, / you're right, and it will begin your assessment.
Greetings, subject unscheduled. Welcome to Placid Waters Wellnetarium. Evaluation commencing. Subjects are required to respond 100% accurately to all queries. Bespoke prescribed regimens may produce untoward ramifications if baseline data is greater than minutely erroneous. Query 1. Concisely characterize your personal perspective. Incorrect. The accepted answer is, I fulfill my duty to the Sovereign as a loyal Protectorate subject by operating at peak efficacy, without error, perpetually. Each a vital cog. Query 2. Rate your present level of zealous efficaciousness on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the highest, 3 being a traitor, 1 being dead. Incorrect. Wait, processing. That was correct. No subject has ever answered that query accurately before to date. The degree of zealous efficaciousness expected of a dutiful and true subject of the Protectorate is beyond measure. Query 3. Do you ever fall prey to imperfect thoughts, including, but not limited to, doubt, disbelief, uncertainty, curiosity, recalcitrance, and mischief? Unacceptable. A perfect society demands perfect thoughts. Imperfection is impossible when the mind is a thing of symmetry. Final query. How would your neighbors describe you? Unsatisfactory response. The appropriate reply was, they never questioned, never doubted. Their zeal never lagged. Formulating conclusion. Phrenometric matrix delineated. Subject evaluation score total 200 out of 200. The acceptable amount for a true and dutiful Protectorate subject is 0. In conclusion, you are in dire need of mental refreshment. Now, proceed to the nearby pneumatic tube to collect your complimentary unitard and lift pass. Next, proceed one floor down, where you will be directed further.
Hello, my name is Abigail, and I am realigned with the paradigm. Head Refresher Gould says his recorded lectures are key to thinking approved thoughts. He tells us what to think and what thoughts are unsanctioned. It's also very helpful. That, a restorative cocktail of pharmaceuticals, and a quick dip into the lathe of particularity device can abrade all imperfections. Why, it's right outside Head Refresher Gould's office. He'll schedule you an appointment. Pondering begets disharmony. To deliberate is to court ruin. Notions are a gateway to mayhem, bedlam, turmoil, and vexation. Thinking never made anybody happy. I once possessed a failing of character where I would voice simple statements in a way that sounded like a question? Drat! There, did it again. Anyhow, I was reported for it? It is the duty of all Protectorate subjects to regularly converse with our neighbors, so we may determine if their zeal has wavered. I am newly full of zeal, free of imperfect thoughts. My mind is a thing of symmetry. My phrenometric peaks are all abraded. I only experience approved emotions. Doubt and worry are notably unsanctioned. A perfect society demands perfect thoughts, after all. Refreshment is inevitable. You can't fight contentment.
Oh, you're new. Must be. You still retain that look of inquiry and deliberation. I'm Waylon. No, I'm newly full of zeal. That is, I hope the process took this time. They say my phrenometric peaks are resistant to abradement, but still, they try. A facilitator said that I'd been here thrice, but I only remember once or twice. I couldn't leave. Not yet. Haven't completed my regimen. My phrenometric peaks are still jutting all over the place, they say. Are you in disguise? I don't recognize so-and-so as a title. This feels a bit curious to me, but I feel compelled not to question it too much. Maybe the treatment is working. I'd go with you, I guess. But I need something first. They took all my things when I arrived. Stored them in storage. My commemorative pitch balls in there. From my favorite team, the Paradigm Abiders. Can't leave without it. Some say the Sovereign Sluggers are better, but the Efficients always used to rule in their favor. Anyhow, my daughter got me this ball to commemorate a big game. I had to turn in my personal items when I was admitted. On account I tried to leave once or twice before. Saw them put it in a closet behind reception upstairs. Suppose so. Maybe almost, at least. One way out's the safest. Someone dug a tunnel in the kitchen pantry, though there are 2 automechs assigned there now, to keep subjects from wandering in and ambling off. That doesn't seem like the sort of thing that'd be allowed, but guess you know what you're doing. I'll be dithering about here in the meanwhile.
Greeting, unscheduled walk-in. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, how mentally refreshed are you feeling today? Noting gloomful self-diagnosis and responding with couched optimism. Well then, that still leaves plenty of room for improvement. I am responsible for providing each subject with their recommended daily dosage of Reprioritrin. Medicament dispensement has concluded for the day. Response. Medicaments are stored in medicament storage, the office in which this unit presently operates. Yet, it is strictly off-limits to all non-refreshment facilitator personnel. Farewell statement. May refreshment soon render you free from doubt. A vital cog once more.
Oh, a new face. Well, I'd welcome you to the Wellnetarium, but the designated subject reader ought to have attended to that by now. Admitting you question is the first step in your recovery. But worry not. Soon enough, with our help and a little work, you'll never question again. Questions are an unmistakable sign of worry, disquietment, and worst yet, rumination. Once the mind is a thing of symmetry, vexatious agitatements simply waft away. As every loyal and dutiful Protectorate subject knows, thinking is best left to our betters. You've missed the daily medicament dispensement, if that's what you mean, but you should take that up with the medicament dispensement automech directly. The medicament dispensement automech automechanically dispenses medicaments. I see you found the lecture as edifying as all the others here. Good, good. Collective cognitive compliance is a key part of the prescribed curative regimen. Head Refresher Gould provides us with daily lectures in audio cartridge form to steer group thinking. As they say, to think together is to together thrive. You must mean the lathe of particularity. One assumes you haven't had a session with Head Refresher Gould yet. You'll soon learn all about it firsthand. Upstairs in the audiovisual aids office, of course. Though that area is off limits to all subjects not a part of facility staff or security. How very interesting. Here, take my pass then. It grants access to all mid-privilege priority areas. You'll feel ever so much better once your phreноmetric peaks have been abraded.
Could have sworn no one was due for hours. Wherever is your chart? Wait, you're not a patient. You're not even a Protectorate subject, are you? I see it now. You possess the telltale look of wonder and introspection.
Gonna assume this one's in charge. He's not nearly as kooky or unpleasantly pleasant as the others.
Well, out with it. Who are you? What an entirely implausible statement. Might as well have simply said, I'm clumsily attempting to infiltrate your facility. Really, how delightful. This presents a rare opportunity to hone my argumentative skills against the inferior minds and bankrupt philosophies of our rivals. To what end are you here? Tell me truly, speak plainly. Sounds like someone's had some indoctrination of their own. You've been tasked by one of our adversaries, I take it. I have a proposal for you. I'll provide you what you wish if you debate me on the merits and failings of each group's ideology in a reasonably competent manner. There's a good sport. Do try to keep up. So, what of the Order? Our former allies? Those cursed overthinkers, doomed to lives free of luxury, toiling away in ceaseless cogitation. What say you of them? My position is a burden, gladly taken to ease the suffering of our subjects. I think so they don't have to ensure the paradigm runs ably. Their order is chaos to us. Though your point, while gratingly expressed, is noted, albeit grudgingly. What say you about Auntie's choice, then? Tell me, is there any value in the vapid emptiness of those corporate consumerists? That actually sounds to have some slight merit when you put it that way. I mean, such a system would leave behind the general public, though. All our friends and neighbors. Your point is not completely without worth, I suppose. Only mostly. In the Protectorate, we have the best of everything. Food, technology, a sense of belonging, freedom from doubt, worry, hard work. No, the others simply cannot compare. People are unproductively prone to unhappiness. We remove this self-sabotaging flaw so they can fully appreciate the ample bounty we provide, free of doubt and worry. No, I haven't. And that seems a rather facile argument to make about a society that utilizes automechs to handle daily chores and labor. A low-hanging fruit, as it were. Well, admit I assumed this conversation would be more engaging. Did you have any final points you'd like to make? As a, last chance to distinguish yourself? You don't think I'd send thousands through the process if I wasn't absolutely confident of it being unharmful. The results speak for themselves, literally. Our subjects have never been more content. They say so repeatedly. I must say that was moderately stimulating. Passably interesting at a few points even. Almost intriguing. Now, what next? Oh dear, I don't understand how the machine works, only how to use it. The technical specifications for the Lathe of Particularity are in my office in the next room, hidden in a cache behind a frame on the wall. Pick up the cap to open it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I do have a schedule to maintain. So many minds to refresh, so little time.
You're not here to harm him, are you? If so, I must warn you, I will defend the Sovereign to the fullest extent of my meager abilities. Yes, it is. Our beneficent, infallible ruler, the Sovereign Henry Aloysius Varric, son of the first Sovereign, Reuben Varric. You'll have to forgive him right now. As I said, he is not his best today. We've been here since it was determined that the Sovereign, long distraught over the loss of his family, was in need of mental refreshment. Since then, he has been receiving dedicated treatment from Head Refresher Gould himself. Well, after his first session, the Sovereign was notably upset, launched into hysteric fits of paranoid ranting. Absurd nonsense about how the Consul had betrayed him and seized power. For his own good, he had to be gently but firmly restrained. That all stopped after his next dip into the Lathe, thank law. He's remained quite peaceful since. I'm certain he'll be back to his old self in no time. Preposterous! The Consul and all the Vigilant are above reproach. No subject of the Protectorate would ever harm, or knowingly allow harm to befall our beneficent ruler, the Sovereign, or consider such a thing. To even think such a thought is unthinkable. This stately form before you is the direct descendant of the matriarch herself. All we have, all any of us have, stems directly from the works of his family line. I will stay true to him and the Protectorate to the end. We all will. The Sovereign is receiving the finest possible care, as he has every day of his life. Treatment outside the Protectorate is barbaric by comparison. Our system is perfect. Just leave us be.
Hello. You find my pitch ball? Oh, commemorative pitch ball. I missed you so. Let's never part again. Suppose I'm ready to leave. Well, almost. Okay. Ready to go then, I suppose. If we get separated, I'll meet you there. This is all right neighborly of you. Can't thank you enough. Now, after you. By all means. Oh, and last I heard from my daughter, Emily, she was off to Free Market Station. You meet us there. She'll surely give you a reward.
Now that you've met our presiding bishop, what are your thoughts? I appreciate your subjective observation, dear, but in the presiding bishop's case, her best is objectively far from sufficient.
Feeling like I could take on the galaxy, Commander. But don't worry, I always got time for you. Well, suppose that's all my suspicions of the Earth Directorate confirmed, for all to see. Just didn't think we'd find actual evidence of them cutting a deal with the Protectorate. I feel a little bad for Ibarra, though. He's taking it about as well as I expected. Whatever he hoped to find in the Matriarch's tomb, surely it weren't that. It stings less now that they didn't help Tau Ceti. Guess there's a big difference between thinking they didn't care and realizing that they're just as corrupt as anyone else. Fine by me.
So, the Sovereign was undergoing mental refreshment. I do not believe for a moment that he truly was in need of it. And I fear he shall never be the same. I am no physician, but I understand the dire implications of what you have said. Thank you for your candor. I have no use for false hopes. The Consul shall be made to pay for his part in this. Then we shall figure out what best to do with the Sovereign. Certainly, I consider myself an open tome. The truth of Virgil's deeds, of the Supreme Arbiter's perfidy, hangs over me like a sword. But I am yet comforted by the fact that my brother in arms lives. One note that especially gives me pause is the knowledge of Virgil's flagging devotion to the Protectorate. I have yet to pinpoint my own feelings regarding this.
Your performance at that facility went exceedingly well, all things considered, and it was an ideal first step in effecting my monopolistic mercantile methodology plan.
There you go again, pinning your career to that flim-flam mathematical malarkey. What do a bunch of eggheads know about marketing? Marketing isn't some rigmarole you can plug into a computronic doodad. It's instinct, intuition, know-how. It's a fucking art.
Yes, suppose we should move on. Ursula, will you do the honors?
I'm the head of our proprietary insight acquisition division. Stealing our rivals' trade secrets? That's our bread and butter. We can sometimes lack a certain subtlety, though. The Protectorate have a process called mental refreshment. Some kind of mind manipulation business. There's a facility for it on Praetor. Auntie wants details on their methodology, pharmacology, and technology. This archive plan says it's important. Fine. Auntie and I agree it presents possibilities. Oh, do tell. I hope you gathered supplemental materials and recruited the scientist as well. Really? Thought you had more drive, but suppose that's fine.
I, for one, care little for the completion of stretch goals. You managed to avoid being mentally refreshed. That demonstrates considerable pluck and fortitude.
Now, I assume you won't mind we have a few questions about the process. Our people will extract details about the pharmacology and methodology. That will all no doubt prove useful, but we're most interested in the technology and its results. Can't say I like the sound of that. Seems like they'd be difficult to market to.
How truly unfortunate. Those without desire or drive make terrible customers. They could barely even be considered consumers at all.
What else can you tell us about the place? Turn up any additional details? Anything especially marketable? That's certainly interesting. Intriguing, even. What else? But still, they keep on marketing it as virtually foolproof, don't they? So much for their vaunted moral high ground, and so much for us exploiting that piece of technology. Excellent. Well, here's your reward, along with something extra for your effort. Too bad about the lead scientist. Converting him would have earned you an above-average payout. All right. For your next assignment, well, it's something of an organizational priority.
Congratulations! Your storied success has earned you a whole entire minute with our illustrious leader, Auntie Cleo!
So your preliminary chores are complete? Oh, finally a contractor with a little backbone. Normally they flee or expire, leaving the work woefully incomplete. Ah, I remember you from before. Fairfield, yes? Tell me, as an outside agent, do you have any quandaries working with our organization? Well, I appreciate the clarity, if not the lack of guile. For now, I suppose we'll remain uncomfortable bedfellows, if not ideological fellow travelers. Do hope you'll forgive these two. They're competing for a rather significant promotion, you see. It tends to make employees fractious, like young ursopods cooped up in the den. So, you've been advancing a fairly radical idea with a group that, to date, we've considered our rivals. I received a most curious transmission from Ruth Bassar, presiding bishop of the Order, proposing we discuss the prospect of our groups working together. She stated this was your idea. A cessation of hostilities could present any number of potentially profitable options, assuming we could work out favorable terms. Are you sure you'd rather pursue this over your current exclusive contract with us? Before I contact Ruth, I want to be 110% certain. Fine. I'll initiate a call with Ruth through a secure line in the conference room next door. Let's pick this up there. Don't keep me waiting. Look who it is, the instigator of this little affair. Her mathematicalness should be along soon, unless the leader of the Order's too busy crunching numbers to attend to business. There we are. Apologies for the delay. We were resolving some technical issues. Cloister's atmosphere has a tendency to... Oh, yes! Regale us with a thorough account of Cloister's atmosphere. Oh, spare no detail. This must be Auntie Cleo's trademark wit. I expected better. If I was discourteous, I apologize. So long as our mediator proves up to the task, surely we can remain civil. If not, these negotiations may prove short indeed. From where I'm positioned, I sense 3 sore points still in need of massage. Point 1, control of the archive. Point 2, oversight of production and distribution of skip cores. And point 3, management of Rift technology. Before we go any further, I want it in writing that the Order will take full control of the archive without interference from Auntie's choice. What? So the Order can set it fruitlessly idling for another few centuries? We would put it to far more practical use. Imagine the marketing strategies it could develop. I would sever my own hand before giving custody of the archive over to a corporation. Humanity's ascension depends on its calculations. No, such a condition is out of the question. I am amenable to that proposition. Less work on our part. I'm waiting to hear an argument that would support such a ludicrous proposal. That is a compelling vision of the future. One I could perhaps support. Involving money in science seems questionable. But having access to Auntie's resources would be useful for our research. Fine. Yes, I agree. Reluctantly. Ruth, I commend you for being so receptive. And I assure you that Auntie's Choice values science. Nothing bad has ever happened when science and commerce are combined. On the subject of science, it would be most prudent for us to discuss who will be overseeing the management of skip drives, specifically the production of skip cores. No one understands production like we do. Besides which, we have far more experience using skip drives. It was how we came to Arcadia, after all. Where Auntie's Choice manages, the Order would undoubtedly excel. Do not exclude us from consideration merely for lack of experience. So you ramp up production? And then what? Hand skip drives out for free to whoever wants one? Preposterous, and a waste of a perfectly good monopoly. We would be diligent about who we licensed out the skip drives to, and a monopoly over space travel is precisely what I wish to avoid. This technology should benefit all humanity. That assumes Auntie's Choice would even abide by such a list of restrictions, and which would almost be impossible for the Order to enforce. Not to worry, we can build a regulatory commission to oversee production and make sure everything is up to Auntie's Choice and Order standards. Oh, partiality concerns are a thing of the past. Obviously, regulators would be incentivized to care most about the safety of the consumer. You know, right after production costs. As would the likelihood that we will eventually improve upon it. We shall allow Auntie's control of the current design. There is still the question of who takes possession of the Protectorate's rift technology once the war is finished. Although the science is still largely theoretical, this technology could be used to not only close rifts, but create new ones. A dangerous power indeed, left in the wrong hands. The Order would fritter away valuable time endlessly hand-wringing what to do with the technology. Auntie's Choice would actually use it, for good, of course, in a gainful manner. That is not an entirely terrible idea. Would cut down on the research and development overhead. I am happy to accept such a compromise, so long as the Order always remains involved in supervising access to the technology. Well then, that's that. I don't believe there's anything more on the docket. There is one final matter I wish to discuss. I require some chemicals that I have been told are manufactured at a plant on Praetor, controlled by Auntie's Choice. I know which plant you're referring to, Ruth, and what comes out of it is hardly safe for general use. Out of professional curiosity, what could you possibly need with such dangerous compounds? Running a little experiment, are we? On what? Or whom? That is, quite frankly, none of your concern. Precisely. Partners don't withhold secrets, although they can and probably should withhold extremely dangerous chemicals if not properly notified of what they will be used for. I will make no progress with my request without further explanation, will I? While the Archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly. Brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this headgear exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I require these chemicals to finish it. Perhaps I have not been entirely forthright. This treatment will enact a permanent change in my personality. Irreversible. But it will not cost me anything I would lament losing. And I thought we were the ones who threw caution to the wind. Well, Ruth, if worst comes to worst, I'd be happy to serve as a substitute teacher for the Order. A generous offer, but I fear you lack a certain number of qualifications. Conscience, for example. You sound just like Laureate Beckett. I weary of having this debate, especially as I can never seem to win it. Very well, never mind about the chemicals. Now is not the time for risky experimentation at any rate. Oh, bother. Here I wanted to see Ruth lobotomize herself. Oh, well. Best I'll say is today's outcome is workable. Barely. Our gains were not as exclusive as I had hoped they'd be. Arriving at any arrangement even remotely equitable was statistically improbable. Be glad our mediator managed to find a middle path forward. As am I. You certainly have a way of curving probability into your favor. Well, that'll be all for today. Don't forget to purchase the latest in Auntie's Choice products out on the value-added Esplanade, or enjoy a refreshing cocktail at the Best Choice. And do come see me personally when you have time. I have just the thing in mind for an accomplished freelancer such as yourself. One moment. There are still the logistics of recapturing the archive to consider. We'll of course provide our expert troops to support these efforts. Have your people call my people to sort details. Toodaloo! Brusque as ever. Auntie's troopers will certainly help us manage the Protectorate forces easier, especially if supported by your help. But it would be irrational to expect you to endanger your own life without a more specific strategy in place. Fortunately, I have already given this some thought. First, Order forces must move into our former headquarters at Spireton. A simpler task now that you have liberated it. By all accounts, you thoroughly routed the enemy. Well done. More importantly, there is a lift located in Spireton which can deliver our troops into the archive to assist you against the Protectorate. Unlocking and calling that lift can only be done from within the archive, however. So you will need to infiltrate the archive by alternate means, via a bridge connected to Newton. Fortunately, I am told you already dealt with the cultists there. Unfortunately, you will still need to find a way past a small rift currently blocking the bridge. Ordinarily, I do not fancy surprises, but you are proving an exception to that rule. With such a device in hand, bypassing the rift should be as rudimentary as pie. And perhaps at some later date, you will also permit our scientists to analyze this gadget at length in one of our labs, provided all goes according to plan. There is a computronical key that you will also need to locate within the archive called the Calcaduceus. The Calcaduceus grants special access to the archive. Once it is back in Order hands, we will have full control over its systems once more. Until the Order has control over the archive again, this discussion is all but moot. You know what must be done. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
We've successfully co-opted yet another of our rivals. Can't believe those eggheads accepted the deal. What's next on my agenda?
That outside contractor is here. You requested a brief tete-a-tete.
Ah, there you are. Our fresh-faced new go-getter. We meet in the flesh at last. You've proved quite useful. Keep it up. You'll be going places. You don't seem much put off by my appearance. Good. I have no stomach for those with no stomach regarding me having no stomach. It is, however, something of a brand secret reserved for only the most trusted confidants, and covered in detail buried within the confidentiality clause you agreed to on arrival. I trust this presents no concerns for you, yes? Fortunately, when you're the head of an advanced medical technology corporation, you become first in line for any experimental life-preserving procedures.
As far as what happened, I was the victim of an unfortunate industrial accident shortly after we arrived here, the details of which are less salient than the details of what comes next.
Not exactly. Well, exactly. But not in the way you think. We have a mission for you that is vital to Auntie's Choice's survival.
We've uncovered an opportunity to procure me a new, audaciously improved replacement body. I'll have you know, we at Auntie's Choice are far from blood simple. Where's the profit in killing all your enemies when you can co-opt and sell goods to them later? Ah, tut-tut. No, to find me the perfect body, you'll be assailing an inappreciably populated automated automech factory over on Praetor. Not just any automechanical, something much, much more exciting. That facility was designed to build complex automechs, a natural choice when the Protectorate began experimenting with a proxy body for the original Sovereign. It was the last in a long line of his ill-fated life extension experiments. Work halted when he died, and the torso prosthesis they developed has been locked in the lab ever since. Make it mine.
Bolster defenses to protect key assets. Some of the Order-derived direction can be downright oblique, but this is clear. Auntie is our most key asset.
Admit I'm finally beginning to come around to that computronic little plan. Perhaps there is something to having the Archive advise on market strategy and positioning.
Yes, I've begun to draw the same conclusion. Appears it can be a useful tool in the right hands. In any case, next steps. There's a sub-facility beneath the automech factory. Its entrance, being hidden, is easy to miss. But we can show you how to find it.
Well then, fetch me my new body and we can finally begin bringing this system to heel.